sleek object killer. See what the object of his desire is in game number 1.
Yeah, and the only thing that really stands out to me is the fact that they saw the on-fleek Lee Sin pick. We know that he plays very aggressively on this champion, and Sangin is one of our best Hawkshot users in the LCK. So the fact that he will be able to help track the Lee Sin around the map is why I'd see them pivoting to that pick. But I think you're right. I think giving up Kalista Thresh is something that can be really rough, especially when it acts as such a brilliant bridge for this Ryze Vladimir composition to make it through the mid-game. So we'll see how it does go for Hanwha Life. They certainly do have a lot of insurance policy when it comes to getting to those 6 item points, because Ryze Vladimir needs no introduction.
Should be a really fun one. Differing drafts for sure. If you look down Sandbox, very standard Siege draft coming through here. Zoe Varus under turrets, so 4-1 draft is what they would usually go to, but it may be forced to be a full-on Siege, more of a 5-man commit rather than the 4-1 you usually want to go with Zoe Varus. Because if you look to the other side, Vladimir actually has a pretty good laning phase against Sylas in the 1. Sylas, yes, can steal the ult, but it's only a single heal, whereas the consistent healing from the Vladimir will trump anything coming through from that Sylas W. So not really sure the side lanes will be so kind. The enemy side, in the end, there's a lot of pick power on the side of Hanwha Life, so it feels like there's a lot to like about both drafts here overall.
Yeah, I feel like Hanwha certainly did get a more cohesive draft, but we know that Sandbox likes to play fast and loose. See how it goes here in game 1.
Cheers are back, Atlas.
They are, and the Sandbox ones are...
Hey, the Korean flag's there.
And it is only half raised, guys, because it is June 6th. That means it is Korean Memorial Day, where we look back at the Korean War and pay our respects. So that is why the flag is only halfway up the flagpole. Brilliant to see it in the skybox here for game number 1 and for all of our series here today. LCK.
Although it's more of a somber custom art, I hope we do have some cool custom art for all the different national holidays, but also maybe some of the standings. What if we have a best of 1 for all the marbles, right? Maybe we can have some cool key art there. So cool to see some different options.
There's a gentleman on our screen right now that would like some key art as well, Pub Smithy, because that's in fact his name. Looking down the keystones, it is going to be another Unsealed Spellbook of Vladimir.
But his starting summoner doesn't include teleport, which is a very interesting decision, Atlas, because it says he's going to be splitting a lot more than he's going to be grouping, because that means the teleport is going to be at the whim of going through multiple rotations of spells as the game goes on. Remember, you will always default to Ghost Flash, as Summit was proxying Tal from entering lane.
Yep. Tal is going to have that Crimson Rush, though, building up. So it means that Summit's not going to be able to be dashing in towards him too aggressively until that one goes down. Oh, doesn't even get it. That feels real bad.
Let's talk about how this decision to go Ghost Flash is very notable. It's not quite a Flash Ignite top laner that has to stick with those summons the entire game, but consider what we were saying. How does Sandbox win? They would prefer to 4-1, but we weren't sure about how you feel about Vladimir in the side lane. With double laning summoners, Vladimir's going to be better at being offensive and defensive against Summit on this Vladimir. So when it comes to that original plan, Tal is actually ruined to be ahead of Summit in that way. And then also, if you get to a team fight, having Ghost and Flash gives you lots of flexibility to guarantee backline access. So I actually like this choice. It feels like with the enemy game plan, Tal has some extra options to try to answer.
And the onus is always going to be on Summit in this matchup in order to make things happen, right? Because Tal is just going to slowly be Vladimir as this game goes on. And it's going to get scarier and scarier. Right now, he's doing absolutely fine in this matchup as we're checking over the rune choices. Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter just to make sure that Tal gets as much out of all of his healing as possible.
A little bit less free boots these days because of the nerf. Remember, it was removed from being the 10-minute free boots to 12 minutes with a bit more CDR.
And yeah, of course, if you're killing a whole bunch of people, you're going to get it back a little bit more quickly. I believe you shave off 45 seconds as opposed to 30 each time. But Dove's making a real early roam as Joker gets the slow onto key. But as you can see, Hanwha, they are wise to it.
So Lava went for an incredibly early back, so that's why it was just free season for Dove to make the bot side roam. It was a 3-minute recall to get the fast tier. Doesn't have teleport, you'll notice, with the phase rush. So that's why it was just a free roam timing from Dove. If Sungyun and Key died there, it would have been just a really big team error. The sort of thing you only ever see on, say, the first match on stage of a season. But smartly pulled away. It is Thresh to give them some defensive utility. They get away with this really early back timing on the Rise.
Yeah, both Rift Scuttlers have gone down here 4 minutes into the game. Mugen just picking up his. You can see he's a little bit further ahead when it comes to that camps. But speaking of further ahead, Summit, he's ran out of mana, but he's certainly used it to good effect here against Tal, who will have to use that Q to get himself back up to decent health bar range.
Early laning phase, Vladimir. Summit's going to have plenty of priority on pushing the lane, no pushing nerfs on these patches. I'm sure in the future we're going to see Sylas maybe toned down in terms of wave clear because he only does everything is kind of the scenario that Sylas is still at in this current power level on patch 9.11. We are 9.11 at the moment, guys. The 9.12, the 9.10 that you saw from other regions, not like you missed us yesterday. Summit for now pushing up, and until you get kind of 3-4 points in Tides of Blood, you're kind of just ceding lane control to Summit.
Yeah, and you can see Tal's not too worried about it either as he's hanging around. He was thinking about it back, but you can see Summit was shoving that wave forward, and without having a lot of mana pool, he's not going to be able to threaten Tal's life, especially now as that health bar is certainly back into a more comfortable range. Doves picked himself up a dash cannon, but isn't putting on too much pressure to Lava, who's just playing very respectfully in this lane. You can see Hanwha are probably going to be doing this quite a lot, right, in this earlier stage of the game. Ghost is farming with his Q at the moment, as Sangyun is only level 4, so not going to be throwing some enchanted crystal arrows his way or anything like that. I believe OnFleek's location has not been fully realized. However, the Hawk shot will figure him out.
He returns to lane, so information advantage, but also some implied threat level. OnFleek's actually chasing in the mid lane. Lava takes a nice chunk. Holy moly.
Yeah, exactly. So Mugen is able to flag and drag his way over, but like you saw, Dove was able to, I believe, land a trouble bubble. Lava didn't invest the cleanse into it, so lost the majority of his health bar.
It should actually be a Drake start considered by OnFleek because they were able to force out both Mugen and Lava at the same time. Yes, they're able to pop some potions and be better, but a recall is forced out of the Rise. For now, at least, no Ocean Drake start.
Now Tal, he's closing in on that level 6 and now does have that teleport that he's switched over to. No more ghosts available here in this lane for the Vladimir.
But you're going to have to be judicious, Atlas, because when you use that first teleport, your next TP is not 6 minutes away. It's probably about 10 minutes away before you're going to be able to cycle through spells. You don't have those super short cooldowns on the cycles in the early game, so you have to have 3 unique cycles before I believe teleport is available again. So there's going to be big swaths of when the game is there to be won. Let's guess maybe 18 to, so 8 to 10, it's 18 minutes or 10 to 20 minutes where teleport won't be available for a top laner. And that's just not something we've had to see circumvented for a very long time.
Well, Tal, he has that test now as Summit moves on over. Not going to land the Q, though, as the Vladimir is more than happy to just walk back underneath his turret, continue taking abuse from the Sylas. Level disadvantage at the moment as another Abduct comes in, but that Tides of Blood does have a few extra points. A lot of buttons being pressed, though, as the Hemoplague is finally picked up. Tal will have to get back underneath this turret and weather the storm.
Deep Control Ward isn't going to get a lot of value, though. Will be spotted out by Mugen very quickly.
Does do its job, though. Spots that Mugen is topside, so Summit not going to be going any over-aggressive routes.
Kind of wishes he put down a Trinket Ward, though, at that point. Probably. With the duration he got, and OnFleek finally will get it. And this is really cute. Notice double Control Ward invested by Hanwha Life to stop there being theoretically Drake, but definitely also to relieve some pressure from both lanes. And it's going to be a solo down anyway.
Yep, OnFleek should be able to get this one, and with priority on the bottom side of the map, it's going to be pretty easily done. So, like you're saying, Control Wards are just not getting a lot of value so far this game, as OnFleek's going to be able to kill this one here after that Ocean Drake has bitten the dust. Oh, another one.
Another one bites the dust?
Yeah, this might be another another Dove pop-off performance as opposed to the lackluster ones that we've seen.
I really wish you extended the song lyric there, but we got plenty of time. It's been a very slow early game here. Definitely.
There's not a lot of another one downs and another one downs so far this game.
Wait, in the LPL, that song is
that song's
for
great.
kills, right?
Yeah.
And our league, it's for CS.
Yeah, or for Control Wards. As that's a tempo Hemoplague to come out here as Lava's being lit on fire. That wasn't Dove's actual summoner spell, though. He just picked that one up off the ground.
Tempo Hemoplague is a good one.
Yeah,
Zoning Flash is my favorite.
The zoning Hemoplague was certainly one of Papa Smithy's best. I thought I'd give Tempo a try. Seemed to work.
You know what, Atlas? I don't think this game is going to be the one that makes people more confident about LCK.
Or at least speeding up the gameplay. That is certainly not what's happening so far, but if there's anyone that's going to do it, and so far this game Summit has been demonstrating that he has been willing to at least press his buttons on enemy champions.
Speaking of pressing buttons on enemy champions, Lee Sin was at least investigating the scene of the crime, but Tal very clearly wants to go onto a recall.
Yep, he's going to go back home. As he does at least find the play. Okay, in goes Mugen, doesn't get the knock up though, and gets a flash out of Joker. The first flash that's been pressed so far this game, and he gets a cleanse along with it.
There you go, 2 for the price of 1. Oh, very nice little thing to pick up there. If you ask me who's happier with just an AFK farm phase, it's actually a complicated answer. I feel like Sandbox desperately needs first core items on their champion. Zoe, for example, picking up something at the start here, so the Lost Chapter will come in. It's going to be the Ludens. From Ludens onwards, then Sandbox want a group, and their siege is very hard for Hanwha Life to answer at low item totals. Later in the game, when there's Seraphs, Mercs, maybe Banshee Veil on Lava, then you can answer and just kind of fish for your all-in. And if Sandbox continue to make things happen soon,
Up the Krug camp, Mugen makes his way in at exactly the right time, and Crimson Rush is going to get Tal back up to close to half health. So Dove roams up and then roams all the way back down again. Hanwha are able to stave off the pressure.
We used to be able to say mid-game Sandbox, late-game Hanwha Life, but there's no difference in mid-game and late-game most of the time, Atlas. It's all going to be about how smart Sandbox can be about item power spikes. Otherwise, a lot of reasons to like Hanwha Life.
Yeah, I find it really interesting what you're talking about here, because this early game does make sense for both teams, but I feel like Sandbox, they have to turn it on earlier than Hanwha Life do. I think ultimately Hanwha will have that scaling advantage, but that number on the clock is going to be much further on than where Sandbox feel like they're going to be strong. So no onus on them to be super aggressive this early on in the game, but they will need to start up earlier than Hanwha.
Dove is pushed up, and Mugen's going to be spotted on the lane ward as he comes in to try to stop things. But why would you EQ aggressively towards someone in this game? It's a fair thing to ask.
Yeah, he's not named.
It's just difficult, Atlas, because we used to have kind of Jace versus Mundo levels of early and late game, and kind of everyone understood what to look for. It's a bit more minute, I think we've been talking about.
Yep, you're going to go wide there as Joker's going to get room prisoned, and we once again have the game just resetting, much like the blue buff was. That's a good hook, though, as Key comes down. That's the Devour, but who's stuck in where with who as the arrow is going to land? Ghost is able to get some shots across, but I have a feeling there are just more Hanwha Life members. It's a decent teleport. Ghost is somehow still alive as Lava picks him off in the end, and Sandbox Gaming have turned it on its head. It's a double kill coming in for Dove, as now Lava wants to try and get something done. He's still got a cleanse flashing forward, but the flash is answered there by Dove, who will land the Paddle Star on fleek. Wants to find a Q, gets the safeguard forward, lands the Q eventually as he gets it in for the finish, and Sandbox finish off beautifully.
It's a delayed ace because there's a solo kill on the top side through all of this as well. Summit's getting turret plays as well. Sandbox, we said turn it on. I think right now they're feeling pretty turned on, Atlas.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like Hanwha Life had all of the options at the beginning of that engage, and then Sandbox just had more.
And this is what we missed during all of this. The fans right now are going to be in ecstasy when they realize what happened topside. It looked like it was just farming out Listen, Tal thought he could walk up with his Ignite. The answer's not true. Summit hits everything and gets out as well.
Yeah, really nicely done. Then able to go into some dirty farming afterwards. As when you land a hook like this, normally you feel real great about it.
And remember, Tampkin's going nowhere. He can't flash out of Cataclysm anymore because he's grounded during the Devour, so you don't have the same defense. But watch OnFleek, who plays this so well. It's Conqueror Lee Sin, so he can stay in the fight. And speaking of staying in the fight, there was a summoner spell Atrocity, so there's plenty of flashes to pick up, and that means they can even clean up Lava, despite the fact that we started very low health on Dove and OnFleek.
Yeah, Lava almost manages to turn it around, but some of the overpowers just going a little bit too wide. It means that Dove is able to keep his health bar pretty comfortable and then land all the skill shots. Really nicely done here by the mid-jungle duo of Sandbox Gaming.
Comet seems pretty stoked. Takes sip, knows that with 5 kills out of nowhere, at the moment, we described, remember, what did we say, Atlas? When that Ludens is done, when the first item was done on the Varus, the core items and how they synergize with the kits and the team comp spike now. And they spike hardest for Sandbox around this point in the game. 25k gold, like we mentioned, they want to fight over everything.
Yeah, well, Summit's just going to dive in onto 2 members, able to get himself out of the way there as well with the Abduct. Shelly's going to reset and head back towards a pit. Sandbox able to get themselves all the way over here, but Ghost is on the bottom side without teleport. So Hanwha will have a man advantage as OnFleek moves on forward. They managed to take down the Rift Scuttler, but Shelly is going to be the prize. No death sentence today, though, as Key needs to get protected. Doesn't, as Dove takes a huge chunk out of the Thresh, and now Sandbox, they feel confident to take down Shelly, despite the fact that we've got a Varus behind enemy turrets on the bottom side of the map.
And this is really good to see from Sandbox. We didn't know what Sandbox would show up today after they kind of fell away towards the end of spring season. And it's a pleasure to see. This is an informed Varus staying bot rather than oops, Varus forgot you didn't have teleport. They understood that with Zoe, if something hits, there's no ability for Hanwha Live to sit on the Rift Herald, take it down, and pick up all that poke. Sandbox is getting everything on the map, and this is with Summit returning to top side and Vladimir not there.
And this also illustrates exactly what we were talking about as well. There's the combo from OnFleek. Mugen able to get himself out. He's burning down so quickly, has to go golden. Big investment here to stop himself from dying. Not entirely sure whether he was going to. However, you got to be safe than sorry.
I'm really impressed with Sandbox's last 3 to 4 minutes and the fact that what we set up was
That's
correct.
what I mean, right?
But it's not just us saying and then look, they killed people. It's Sandbox knew that, and how they've approached the game after 10 minutes plays into their draft and subverts our kind of worries that, wait, they didn't do anything for 10 minutes. If they don't do anything for 20 minutes, they probably just lose.
Yeah. Really intelligent play here from these guys. Of course, Hanwha were the ones that sort of started the scuffle on the bottom side of the map, but it's really, really good to see here from Sandbox, who have now moved themselves into a mid-game that they are in complete control of. What they're going to be able to do to stop the inevitable LCK lull state is going to be the question on a lot of people's minds, but is it actually going to be that inevitability, or can Sandbox just keep this pressure rolling forward?
What we've learned is that Sandbox and Hanwha Live both embraced the lull state. They were both in the lull state, but Sandbox actually got their passport, Atlas, and they understood when they needed to leave it, and they didn't wait too long. They got out when they needed to, and now the game is actually a 4,500 gold lead, and a lot to like about Sandbox's present position. There's still a late-game dream for Hanwha Live, but it's feeling more and more like an imminent nightmare.
Well, now you've also got that siege set up here as well, so you've got the Tahm Kench able to keep Ghost pretty protected, and Dove's able to throw Paddle Stars forward, and this is something you also illustrated, you know, Zoe and Varus, pretty good when you're sitting in front of an enemy turret with a slight advantage. So Summit comes down, cycles his hijack, just on some popcorn chickens, and Key's going to take a bit of damage for it, as OnFleek wants to take everything away from Mugen.
They're just taking more and more resources. The onus on Sandbox now. Now they fully understand. Keep pushing up, and in every case, you look at the item breakpoints and say, everyone at Hanwha Live is like, ooh, maybe I'll give that up. Maybe I'll give that up. And to a point, that's understandable, but if Sandbox continue to smash and grab like they have post 10 minutes, this game could be in a no-win state for Hanwha Live around 25.
Exactly, and if you're just going to say, well, we've got the late game, guys, let's power forward, it's going to be more and more difficult as this game goes on. Mugen dives on forward. Summit not going to get knocked up, but he's put inside the Cataclysm. I don't think he's going to have the dash in time. He does! as there's Tal. The flash forward has to be there from Key, and Summit is not going to survive. But how long can he last? The Kingslayer keeps him alive for that little bit longer, but eventually he does fall. What can Sandbox actually get elsewhere on the map?
Joker decided to go top lane just to see it, and he's like, yes, he did die here. It's very sad. The Vigil is being run by Joker, as far as we can tell.
At least he reclaimed his body, possibly.
He did. Does he get his loot from that? Is that how it works in this game?
I think so. That must be how it is. You know, I think is this
Dark Souls?
Yeah. He went back and grabbed all the souls. Yeah. I don't know whether a teammate can do that for you in Dark Souls, nor whether you actually have teammates.
I think we're giving Riot Games an idea for a new champion.
After
Yuumi, that seems like a very standard hit that we could have, picking up allied
Meanwhile,
items.
in the mid lane, stuff happened, as that was a kick onto lava and nothing really came of it.
This was Sandbox saying, okay, we're wasting a lot of time topside, can we make something happen? The answer overall was no, so they weren't actually able to change the game state, because this was actually a 25 to 30 second chase to try to take down Summit. He's already pretty damn tanky.
Yeah. Pretty damn tanky when he's almost built his Ludens, which is just ridiculous. So coming out here, I mean, the Kingslayer giving him that extra bit of health, but it was ineffectual in the end. But he had already blown his flash, you know, he'd already made all attempts to try and get out.
The Drakes have been a early and repeated objective for Sandbox to take down this game, and I imagine they're just too much to try to defend. You'll notice that all of Hanwha Life's control wards are topside, trying to stop Baron, which spawns in 15 seconds. Suits Sandbox, though. When you have this many control wards around Baron pre-20 minutes, that's very much a, well, we can't contest where the enemy are, so we'll try to contest somewhere. Sandbox can easily invade Vision post 20 minutes and start to set up that Vision choke around Baron after it's spawned.
And already there's a lot of that Vision that's getting cleared out here by Sandbox as they transition themselves towards that top side. 4 control wards on the bottom side of the map, but the control Vision that Hanwha had set up on that top side is slowly but surely getting taken down. Licked to death here, as you can see, by Joker.
Do notice the Varus build has changed, post-Rage Blade change. Rage Blade still has some good synergies with Varus, and maybe a third item, but it's going second is deep, and I say deep teleport from Tal. They're looking for the all-in here, a Hanwha Life.
Yep, Sungyun's waiting for that arrow as well. It does fly forward. It's going to be Summit that's nailed by it as Muujin just sacrificed himself. Great kick on the back end there from OnFleek to keep the Vladimir out of the fight as Joker is going to go very, very low. The Silas is eventually traded as that's a really late pull, but it is just late enough. Lava turns up, and Hanwha are finding their team fight. Safeguard gets OnFleek out, but it's not going to save his mid-outer turret. And Hanwha Life showing that they do still have some moves left.
Even though OnFleek read the situation and got the defensive kick onto Vladimir, Hanwha still able to hit closest target, and Sandbox a little bit confused about who to focus on in that particular engage. So good moment for Hanwha Life. We already talked about what they could look like in the later parts of the game. We're not there yet, but it's a good look from Hanwha Life. Watching the replay here, really great kick from OnFleek to fully disengage, but there's no threat on Sangyun. But first time this game, he's Ashe with full stats of Ranger's focus, just auto-attacking and being able to hit closest target. Nice play from Lava to clean up on the backside as well. Hanwha Life, even with OnFleek being aware of the play and ahead of it in some ways, find an advantage.
Well, now OnFleek is sort of hunting here in this mid lane. Inner turret is not going to be taken down as Dove is just trying to clear minion wave after minion wave. The vision is still there for Sandbox, but Hanwha winning that fight is certainly going to breathe life back into this squad.
Both AD carries need time. They're both Hurricane AD carries.
Almost has his Hemo Plague back up again. Hook is going to go wide, as is the arrow. Bit of a disaster here for Hanwha Life, who disengage completely, tails between their legs.
We've had so many games with generous Ashe arrow hitboxes. I was genuinely surprised that one missed. Didn't think it was possible to miss that one. Good job, Sangyun.
That's the synergy between Key and Sangyun. If one misses, the other misses as well. That's how bottom lane synergy is supposed to go.
We're seeing a new build out of Key. There's been a lot more of Chalice this season, as Athene's on Yuumi is, of course, a really big item. We see it on Lux as well. Thresh has, of course, the Lantern that synergizes there, but it is definitely a different take onto the Thresh.
It is a curious one. I don't think of Thresh as necessarily having mana issues, but I mean, he can throw that lantern around with reckless abandon, as you can see.
The big Chalice synergy is coming through on kind of the mana regen side. That's why Athene's is build, because you build a lot of mana regens like Redemption and Ardent Sensor, and you get ability power out of it. Even then, it's just a kind of a strange different take. Mikhail's is a possibility as well, coming through from Key in this game, and that, of course, could be a big one as well. Just Chalice in general and the inventory of a Thresh has been seen how many times? Maybe single digit in pro play history.
Yeah, I think that the being able to stop someone from dying to a trouble bubble is certainly something that Key wants to look at. So
it works nicely with the Varus in particular, right? That would be a nice pickup there. And I guess maybe QSS is not enough in this game, right? QSS already in there. With Varus and Zoe, it gives Ash the ability to frontline, so maybe we can understand the Athenes that is on the mind because of Lux, specifically, and all the Lux
We've been
games.
seeing a lot of it, right?
The Mikhail's at the back of the mind, but definitely probably towards the forefront of the game.
Yeah, we've been looking at Yumi builds as well, and she does really like picking up that Athenes. So, okay. Well, that is going to be a beach ball narrowly avoided by Key. There's Arrow. It's going to come down again. This one's going to land true. That's 3 people inside the Cataclysm. Great Hemo Plague there as well. As Muujin may not even die for this one. Joker eventually falls as now the Realm Warp is going to get them in there. In goes Tal. It's a double for the Vladimir. 3 more left on the map. Can Tal find any more? The answer looks to be no, but they've got 5 members alive, and there's a Baron sitting there waiting. Mountain Drake up in 3 seconds. Hanwha looking for the easier objective.
And they should be able to take this pretty trivially. Tal able to move over to the smite, so double smite onto the Mountain Drake. Sandbox try to poke, but a couple of times now, those downtown Ash arrows have been so important.
Yep, Volley's going to tag Summit, who doesn't want to give this one away without a fight. It's going to be the Vladimir that takes down the Mountain Drake, invests. That smite is on fleek. He's burning down, and Key grabs it with the Ignite. Last couple of ticks. Going to be just enough to get rid of the Lee Sin.
Multiple smites using that one. Tal's the one that rings true. Another good moment for Hanwha Live and Atlas. Around that 25-minute mark, Sandbox is stacking objectives. The last couple of scuffles have gone the way of Hanwha Live. That was another good kick from Onflake, but it's so straightforward for Vladimir and Ash to just try to hit the same target, and that seems to be working out in a canter.
Absolutely. Tal getting down here, and you saw the minion wave in the wrong position there as well for Onfleek to actually finish off after that kick. Might have been that someone got executed towards the back end, but just wasn't to be. So Sandbox, they're feeling like their young selves, like they were getting exposed for later in the season, in spring.
Now the reality is, Sandbox have taken a lot of the easy objectives where you get so much work done with the Varus and Zoe combination. 5 turrets are already down for Sandbox. So you're getting towards the harder objectives, those inhibited turrets especially, that require a lot more prep in terms of vision and minion waves set up. And for now at least, whenever they've walked up into that area, someone like Tal has been there. Speaking of Tal.
Yep, Skond is going to come in, but the Death Sentence is going to go wide. That's a very early Sanguine pull, but there is a Lantern that Key had available for the Vladimir, as Summit is still looking for more lava. Gets himself the shield. The flash is going to get him to safety, as the hijacked Hemo Plague is not enough to actually kill the Rise. But that is just a lot of pressure given out by Summit by himself.
With all that pressure though, Atlas, they need vision and then a Baron start, and they need to do it soon to stop Hanwha Life getting a reset. They've got a very long map. Look at all the turrets down in top lane and mid lane. That gives you so much vision that you can push up in the red side to spot the enemy when they try to respond to a Baron. Sandbox right now, they actually don't have control wards in their inventory.
Arrow is going to land there onto the Tahm Kench. It's going to be traded as the Chains of Corruption are going to go just wide, but Ghost making sure that Hanwha needed to take a back step in order to avoid that. He's going to land there from Onfleek, but he's not able to go any more aggressive. 5 members in the river here from Hanwha Life, as Zoe had to go topside to deal with some minion waves. Summit had to do the same thing on the bottom, as they had a little bit of work to do as far as cleanup around this map, which is why Hanwha were able to move up.
So to be clear, how you find a way forward in this game as Sandbox is you get those control wards around the Baron, you clear out vision there, and then you try to get that pick with the Zoe, with the Lee Sin, with the Varus on one person while Summit is split pushing, and you have to start the Baron and bait around the Baron with a vision lead. So while the poke damage they did was exactly correct for Sandbox, because they didn't control Baron vision, Hanwha Live could just keep walking up. They didn't actually care.
As the Cataclysm Ghost immediately has to flash, they're going to take that as the Realm Warp is actually taken from Lava. He's going to get a follow-up Cataclysm from Summit, who hijacked it, who's going to go golden to keep himself alive. Hanwha not able to get anything back as, oh my goodness, that abscond was so close to being the end for Hanwha. Beach Ball going to go wide as well as Sangyun wants to take this Lantern. He's going to do so. Sandbox got the pick.
That pick is important. What will Ghost turn it into here? They're pushing up. They don't have a full minion wave, so now it seems like we will see that Baron move we were alluding to, Atlas. Lava going down here means that Hanwha Live have to respond.
Yep, Hawkshot is going to spot that Baron pit as it gets angry at Summit. Low health bar there on the Silas, who will have to use that Kingslayer to help him get back up again. Key gonna find, oh no, Joker barely able to get out of the way as another Trouble Bubble's going to land, but Thresh not gonna get chunked out. Hanwha do move on over here. It's likely to be that 50-50. Q's gonna get in, on fleek, gets himself back over. There's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, devours in as the Baron is still at 3,000 health. Sangyun getting a lot of damage. It's traded there as the ultimate flies out of the hijacked version from the Silas, but Sandbox should let this Baron reset, and Hanwha will be able to defend.
Hanwha Live just, and I mean just, defend the Baron long enough to have it not go down. Sandbox couldn't just go for a true 50-50, and in a 5v4, they couldn't both threaten the people behind the pit and take down the Baron. Unfleek tried to remove the blast plant and find another safe way to take the Baron. They don't find it. Here's the replay of how this all started. A deep Realm Warp is opted into from Lava, and unfortunately, no back.
Yep, the Cataclysm does a lot of damage when it's coming out of a Silas there as well. One of those AP-AD ratios that works pretty well for the champion.
1 AP ratio, it just feels like Nico and Ashe are those champions that Silas loves to steal.
Oh yeah.
The ultimates from Malphite and Pantheon, but we see those a lot less in pro games as well.
Yeah, Unstoppable Force would be pretty damn good. But it's one of those that we theorized at the beginning, and then Malphite, of course, is never going to be picked up by the enemy team.
Again, this is a unique game where Tal doesn't have teleport, and Summit does, and it's that weird case where we just kind of have to count back and think, wait, how many more transfers does there need to be for teleport to be available on Tal? Because he did not start the game with teleport, in case you're joining us after the start. So every time you see Tal on the side lane, there's actually a pretty big window to be exposed in a 5v4.
And also has to walk over a lot of vision in order to make his way out. Another arrow is going to come in, but Stun's pretty good. Key does find the hook, actually predicts where Summit's going to be going. Devour is going to be in there, and Joker's actually able to keep them alive. Cataclysm comes down yet again as Summit was looking for it with the Lantern. He's going to come in to get Lava back to safety. Sangyun actually playing frontline on the Ashes. He's chasing down Sandbox Gaming, but they're just looking to clear out more vision and continue getting control around this Baron area.
Really need to take over this Tribush Ward that right now is buying Hanwha Live so much space. They can be so much more defensive for how they approach the area, and the ward spot Summit as well. So Hanwha Live's warding here. It's actually the reason that they're not being forced into awkward spots by Sandbox.
Key has also just been so clutch on these lanterns as well. It feels like Hanwha have been able to stay out of, stay in more risky positions this game. Mugen below half health, Key as well, very close to that as another Paddle Star is going to land. That's a great bubble, but Dove does have to respect Tal and the amount of damage that he can do. Half the health bar now on the Baron as it has been started up. Hawkshot spots it as now Mugen, he's going to have to sacrifice himself for this 50-50. Tal gets his way forward. Grey health there for Joker as Hemoplague does come in. Lava's kicked into the Baron pit. So much damage from Summit in amongst all of the backliners. On Fleek finishes it off. Gets the kill on the jungler. Finds the mid laner as well as Sangyun is the next one to get punished. And Tal is zoned completely out of this battle. Triple kill for the Lee Sin of all people. And Varus finishes off the Baron.
Outplays upon outplays by Sandbox. On Fleek especially was Jackie Chan-esque everywhere in this fight.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, whichever star you want to think of, he was there. Watch the replay of how this all came together. This is so hard to peel off the Baron at the right time when it goes down to 3,000. And whether it was the kick to start things, the late dive, Onfleet cleans up, the low health bars are taken down, and Tal never gets an entrance into the fight until it's already decided.
Yeah, and then Sangyun has to just see his death as he goes golden for basically no reason. Baron is going to fall, another Drake is going to be there. And now Sandbox, we mentioned their ability to siege earlier on. With the Baron buff, it only gets even better from here, and 10,000 gold is where it's just ballooned to in a very short period of time. Hanwha were managing to hold on for so long, and now it feels like we've got to that gigantic lead that almost feels insurmountable.
And it was at the part of the game where we thought Hanwha Life's team fighting would just take over, but they just can't get things that resemble team fights, Atlas. They're not getting the 5v5s, honestly, in open lanes. So good setups from Sandbox. They're going to take down 2 inhibitors pretty trivially.
Oh my goodness, so much damage out from that Paddle Star. Dash Cannon in there as well from Dove has just softened up 2 members. They have to go back to the fountain as now 2 inhibitors are down. That's the engagement. Tal does throw down the Hemo Plague. And he's just going to get popped. That Trouble Bubble was so damn good. The kickback there as OnFleek grabs his next kill in a row. This guy is so aggressive. Summit throws out his Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and it feels like it's just for fun as the Nexus is now being targeted. The Rise evaporates. The Jarvan is going to follow suit, and Sandbox, out of nowhere, explodes